welcome into the Friday Refresh brought to you by Magic Mind, the refreshing mind boost of a drink that helps you focus and get more done every day. You can get yourself up to 56% off your first order by going to www.magicmind.co/healinghumor and use the code HEALINGHumor20. The year was 1812, and the shop was near Paris, France. A young 3-year-old named Louis was playing in his father's harness shop. He was playing with a sharp object known as an awl. Maybe it was a normal play for a boy who had been raised around the tool since birth, or maybe his father was distracted. Regardless of how it happened, it only took a moment for the awl to plunge into his right eye. With a terrible wound such as that, it's unlikely that the eye could have been saved even today. But what might have been prevented was the ophthalmia and the total blindness that spread to both eyes. Young Louis, though blind, would excel in music and would attend the National Institute for Blind Children and would eventually teach there as well. Louis, although lacking in sight, never lacked in vision. His lasting legacy would be that he took a system that allowed blind persons to read, and he perfected it with certain adaptations that made it universal and simple for those who might use it. By the time Louis was 15, he had found a way to use the same kind of instrument that blinded him and all to create the raised patterns of dots that would allow the blind to not only read books, but also to read instructions on doors, eventually elevators, many other places throughout the entire globe. We simply know it by his last name, Braille. He could not see, he was young, and the very enemy of his eyesight became the tool that he used to bring a gift to the world. The even crazier part is that it was not even widely accepted until several years after his death. Every time I read the story of Louis Braille, I'm amazed by his perseverance. He was an individual that from a young age could have made excuses. His parents could have sheltered him. He could have simply become a beggar like many people in that day who suffered from blindness. But through the encouragement of his parents, Braille chose a different path. He took the very tool that had blinded him and found a way to make it useful for himself and the rest of the world. He took a tool that had destroyed and turned it into something that gave life, a tool that ultimately caused him to never see again and used it to help others see through their fingers, stories, instructions, and even hope. What is it that you're struggling with? What situation has led you to discouragement? What thing or person or event is equivalent to Braille's awl? Now, how can you reframe that situation? How can you change the view of the past messy relationships you're in? How can you transform that tool of destruction and find a way to turn it into an avenue of hope for the people around you? Or maybe like for Braille, an avenue of hope for those who will come after you. You may never need to use the system of Braille in your life, but every one of us could use a little bit of Braille's vision and perseverance. And that is your Friday Refresh.